Hey loves, welcome back to Lover Girl Dating Chronicles with your girl Mish. We're gonna hop right into my experience with dating church men. God help me. So I had an experience with two church men, and little did I know I was about to be on the craziest emotional roller coaster like ever. So church man number one, he and I worked together a short period of time a few years ago, and we kept locking eyes. We kept locking eyes. And so when I would see him, I seen the vest, the tie, the dress up shirt, the slacks and all that. So it definitely gave church. So I was like, I'm about to shoot my shot, and I did. So, I asked him his name, and the first thing I asked him before we exchanged numbers was, "Are you single?" He said yes. So at this time, we started texting and talking and things like that, and he was in ministry and he was a preacher. He wasn't a pastor yet. He is one now. We're gonna get to that. But at the time when we met, he was just a preacher. He was in ministry. So we linked up one time out in public. We went to like a bar and grill to have a drink and to, converse and talk in person. Shortly after that was when I found out that he was going through an ugly divorce. You don't think that's something that you should tell somebody when you first meet them? Okay. So I was like, I'm cool. You handle that. I'm out. So he got through the divorce. My dumb ass went back. Why, Misha? Why? So when I went back to this man, I went back to a man who was broken. I went back to a man who was hurt. I went back to a man who was not mentally and emotionally or financially okay. And here I am thinking like, okay, you're single now. Just, so stupid. Thinking that, okay, we can date, we can go out, we can get to know each other, this and this and that. It was the total opposite. Like, that experience was a total opposite. All this man wanted from me was sex in my presence. That was it. That was it. So I'm out here trying to push like, well, hey, why don't we go, hang out, do this, do that. And he's like, I don't have the money. He was a father. They did have a baby together. So he would have his child on the weekends. He would do his ministry stuff, busy doing this, busy doing that. We never dated. So I was really confused as to why I stayed. I believe that it was a thing of I was so open to dating and dating for marriage and dating for a family. And here I am like, oh, this is a church man. Like, I know you gonna do me right. Like, you preach the word. Like, you are a lover of God. You all this. And y'all, it was just that was not the case at all. And I definitely felt like I did put him to a higher standard in expectation because he was a preacher. He was in ministry. He's preaching right and wrong, but was not living what he was preaching. And so it was very frustrating. And so we went through this whole thing of like talking off and on. And every time we would talk again, it was always, we can link for sex, we can link for sex. And we didn't have a chemistry for sex. So I was like, I'm not down with that. We don't have that to where that's what it could be. So ultimately we decided to just, keep it at a friend level because it just was not working out. That man was not gonna date me, and I was like, I'm not about to keep doing this with you. So a few months ago, he hits me up. He had asked me a question about something. We discussed it for a little bit. And then he got into like my dating and sexual life. And I'm just like, aren't you dating somebody right now? And at this time, he's now a pastor, okay? A whole pastor. And so, once I brought up the fact of him dating somebody, he got super defensive. Like, everybody always wants to assume things and da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, it was a yes or no question. And see, that's what I be talking about right there. So not even a month later, he popped out married to the woman that I questioned. Aren't you dating her? And so it was just very disappointing because it's like, I would expect this from a man that isn't of God, a man that is not a preacher of his word, a pastor leading a flock. I would expect that. But to see that not even a month later of you messaging me, questioning me about who I'm dating, who I'm having sex with, if the spot is open, he'll come through and have sex with me, like, that's very disappointing. It's very disappointing. And so, I just blocked him on everything and kept it moving. Like, really wasn't nothing more that I could do. Moving right along to church man number 2. So he also was in ministry. He wasn't a pastor or a preacher or anything like that. Very, very heavily involved in church. I'm talking every time that we spoke on the phone, he was quoting a scripture, okay? He was one of those. So when I first met him, my friend was like, I know you're trying to be into the church man. There's actually this guy on my friends list on Facebook. I think he would be great for you. Like, you should check him out, see what's up. So I did that, shot my shot with him. I was really like Steph Curry, okay? Like, I was really shooting my shot like some years ago. So shot my shot, we exchanged numbers, started talking, and we went on our first date. And when this man walked up, first of all, he took me to Bristol Seafood Grill, okay? Now, before I even get into this date, yes, he did take me to Bristol Seafood Grill. It was a nice date, but we only went on one date, okay? Well, let's just throw that out there. We went on one date. So when he walked up, okay, y'all, I'm talking tall, chocolate, skin moisturized, beard moisturized, had his sun shades on, the long little men's peak coat. I said, oh, I literally said, that's my husband. In my head, I was like, oh, this is my husband. Like, let's get this first date out the way. This is my husband. Little did I know, this man was by far my husband. Took me on a very emotional roller coaster. When I met this man, he also was going through a bad breakup. Now, he wasn't going through a divorce, but I believe he was engaged to the woman. So again, another man who is broken, hurt, not mentally or emotionally okay. And this is not me speaking down on, the mental state of these men, because I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I know how it feels to be hurt, broken, depressed, stressed. I get that. But I was very perplexed in asking God, why was I led to them at this period of time in their lives? You know what I'm saying? And during all of this, once again, I'm just so super hopeful of, oh, well, you're single now, we can date, we can, turn this into marriage and a family. I'm trying to wrap my mind around why I was so hopeful with these type of men. Like, I just thank God for growth. Thank God for my experiences. I am thankful that I learned from them. But with this man, he was a manipulator. Anytime we would have a disagreement, he would always try to turn it on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, doing the whole thing of woe is me, like, oh, well, I'm this, so you should this. And I'm just like, I don't rock with that. You might have dealt with women who rock with stuff like that, but I don't rock with stuff like that. We're not gonna do that. And so we went through a period of time of like talking to each other off and on. And at one point I had told him, I was like, are you not questioning what keeps bringing us back together? Because we're really not getting along. The chemistry really isn't there. Like, what is it? Like, why do we keep coming back and allowing us to get back into communication, and it's literally the same thing over and over and over? And so still to this day, we have not figured that out. And so I will say, like, maybe a few years just after all of that up and down, back and forth, we did link up. We went to a restaurant and he finally, put stuff out on the table like, yes, this is what was going on. And a lot of times too, when I would ask him about things, he would not be truthful or he wouldn't tell me anything. And that was another thing that I could not rock with him. Like, every time I asked him something about like his life or, something that maybe he felt like was personal, it was always like a smart ass remark or a smart ass comment. He just would not open up to me. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? What am I here for? What are you here for? Like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we really were not, having intercourse or anything like that. It wasn't like a super intimate or, romantic thing that we had going on. I really felt like I became a void filler for him. Like, I don't have my person no more, so here you done came along. I'ma just, use you, string you along, and, just have you here until I don't need you no more. So ultimately, I definitely learned my lesson with, putting that high expectation on men, who are in church and in ministry and things like that. Yes, I do feel like, if you are a person who is in ministry, a preacher, a pastor, you should be carrying yourself of God. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we're all human. We all go through things, and that's just what it is. But I will not allow myself to go down that road again. If I do happen to, meet another church man and I'm seeing the red flags waving, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it moving, because I done been down that road, and it's just not a road that I will choose to travel down again. And I will say, before I end this vlog, I do pray that my soulmate, my man, my boo, my one, my person is a man, who is a man of God. Not necessarily in church, but, a man that has a good prayer life, a man that I can pray with, pray for. He prays for me. We in the Bible together. Like, that is ultimately my prayer. And so, like I said, not really dating this year, but I do believe that will be the type of man that God will bless me with. So I thank you all for tuning in to the Churchmen vlog. Hope this, has opened your eyes and gave you some insight when it comes to maybe you being someone who wants to date a man who's in church. Just be careful. Watch for those red flags. And thank y'all for tuning in.